guys. Hello, hello. Welcome. All right. Just going to wait for a few people to trickle in. How we doing, everybody? Happy Thursday. It's Thursday. What's going on? Hello. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. So we're just going to wait for a few more people to join. How you doing, guys? Hope you're having a good week. Hey, KP. Nice to meet you. Yanissa, how you doing? It's 4 a.m. there. Geez, are you not sleeping? Or are you just a night owl? Hey, Catherine. Oh, good to see you guys. Welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness. So what's been going on, you guys? So I have nothing exciting to say except that I've got hives. It's a fun story. I got some sort of a rash or a reaction out of something. It's all down my stomach. It is gnarly, you guys. Like, I've never had hives before. It is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So we joke now that I have leprosy. It's 3:30 a.m. Was working late. Just finished. Oh my gosh. Hey Tim. Hey Nicola. What's up, guys? Yeah, so I like to share things that probably are just like, oh, why are you sharing that, man? I'm like, I don't know. It's just interesting, I guess. It's all right, man. So here's the thing, right? This kind of stuff happens for a reason. I always feel like it does. It's your body telling you something it cannot tolerate. So, um, you know, we'll find out what it is. And I've been doing a lot of healing around it. So, it's always an opportunity. Depends how you look at it. Also, it's not on my face. It's not really that itchy. So I'm okay. I've actually had it pretty good. Lots of downloads. Okay, I see. Oh, yep. That can happen for sure. All right, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So I see a few people have joined finally. That's awesome, Nicola. I hope you enjoy it. I am actually enjoying the shorter hair, to be quite honest. It's a nice change and it's so much easier to handle, to be quite honest. I'm waiting for a phone call from my husband in the States. Oh, that's right, Yanessa. Your husband's in the States. I remember that. Well, I hope he's doing well. I hope he's enjoying his trip over here. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. All right, so let's begin. It's a great time for new hair, absolutely. Well, I just turned 40, so it was a new age, a new era, a new me, basically. That's the way I see it. Absolutely, KP. So basically, how it works is thank you, KP. I'm going to start off basically with a quick group reading. That's how we always do everything. So people who don't get a chance to get a reading or anything, usually something will come through everybody. Then, if anybody gives a donation, of course, it's not expected, but you essentially lock your position in, and there's usually a list. If nobody does, totally fine. I'll still take questions. If you didn't give a donation and you don't want to give a donation, again, that's totally fine, but you're going to have to wait until the list goes through. We usually here the whole time. I will get through to everyone. Sometimes you can leave and come back. So it's up to you, but I highly recommend you hang out because these get fun. These get very interesting and juicy. We do end up diving through some deep stuff, and there's always things that resonate with people and those aha moments and that kind of stuff. So we always have a great time here. I had to put my boundaries down with the guy. I'd keyed him. No more chasing me undone. Okay, that's good, Nicola, to hear. Interested in a reading? Absolutely, Krista. So let me begin with the group reading and then we'll get to the one-on-ones, okay, guys? So give me 1 second. Just give me access to your energy. So this is just a group reading for the energy of the week, just to know what to expect, what's going on collectively. And then, as I said, we'll get to the one-on-ones. So these usually, I try to make them pretty fast, but still, we'll see how it goes. But yes, guys, so I'm in LA and it's really hot. I had to it's so funny. My husband can sleep in the heat for some reason. I slept downstairs on the couch because it's cooler downstairs and it was so nice. I didn't have the dogs. I didn't have the husband, even though I love the dogs more than the husband. Sometimes, today especially. All right, so let's see what's going on. Okay, so the first card that we got is the releasing sign. So essentially, this situation doesn't serve you. Release detachments to the outcome. Consider taking a more uplifting approach. Keep your eyes on the big picture, leave the details to other. Experience that leads to success, genuine concern for others. And then the final card, release the past. You will grow from the situation. Time heal all wounds. Okay, so I feel like some of you are either you or somebody close to you is going through something. I feel like there is comforting somebody, supporting somebody through a tough time, or you're actually the person who needs that comfort at this time. This could also mean just maybe something that you're going through that you would like to also have some comfort, and maybe you don't know how to ask for that. And what I'm hearing here essentially is that the main issue of the problem here is to let something go. Whether it's an ideology, whether it's a mentality, whether it's like being stubborn about something. I'm saying this to my husband right now. um, it's a whole deal. So you know, that's the kind of thing. Sometimes when we let go, what ends up happening is we start looking at things and we can see a new perspective. It opens up doors for new opportunities, but we hold on to things because for many reasons. It could be for ego. Sorry, I'm taking the piss today. um, for ego reasons, or because, you know, we really want to win, or it could be because we're attached to something and we're afraid of losing it. You know, I'm glad you're getting the joke, Tim. so, essentially the letting go, it doesn't mean that you're surrendering or you're giving up fully, or you're like what's the word that I'm looking for, like that you failed. Okay, sometimes the letting go is the exact step that you need to win. Sometimes that's the very thing, the very key, because sometimes we don't realize that our ego is the reason why we're holding on to something, or we think that we're right or we're doing the right thing. Probably should say it to myself right now too. So that's the kind of thing, right? So what I'm hearing here is sometimes what this is requiring for a lot of us is to step back and have the bigger picture and really look at things from sometimes not an emotional place, not from an attachment place. And that's a hard thing to do, but if you can master that technique, guys, it can be the most liberating experience you'll ever have. And I always ask myself, is this really going to matter in 5 to 6 years' time? Or if I'm dead and I'm going to look back, what did actually really matter? And that immediately puts me on that higher perspective, and it allows me to see things from a higher point of view. Oftentimes, that means also that you might find some resistance or pain, because that's the ego. That's how you know it's the ego. If there's a lot of resistance and it's painful, the idea of being wrong, or the idea of having to let go of something, that is ego. It doesn't mean the ego, by the way, means that you're up yourself. The ego is just what you identify with, and you kind of locked into it and you just claimed it as your own. But you can move from something else and from something else. It doesn't just have to be that one thing. So the bigger picture essentially will serve you or the friend or the situation at this time. And understanding that sometimes when we're very stubborn or we're really holding on to something, we repel it. You know, you ever been next to somebody who's been desperate? Ooh, that's what my pin was. Um, somebody who's been really desperate, right? Guess what happens? People run away. It's too much. Thank you, Nicola. So this is what I'm hearing right now. This is obviously a collective reading. It might not be for everybody, but there might be some wisdom in here as well that might resonate with some of us. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way when I had an ego death. You know, I was very attached to a certain circumstance in my life, a certain way of things of going, and it really, you know, caused a lot of suffering. And so, are you happy or are you suffering? Right? At some point, you can only fight so much. You can only put yourself through so much before you go, okay, it's time to try something different. And I didn't want to let it go because I was like, well, this is it, you know. But the minute I let it go, even though it was scary, it actually came back to me, to be quite honest, later on. But I felt happier and more free, and suddenly a whole world opened up for me. So that's basically what I'm hearing here. Nothing else aside from that. Okay, cool. So Nicola gave a donation, so she's first, and then we'll go through, and then hopefully everybody else. If there's no more donations, I will take names after that. All right, Nicola, so what's your question, my love? And in the meantime, I'll have my big soup of tea. I just bought chamomile and lavender. I like it. Thank you, Tim. Got you down, mate. I got Krista. And then I got Minakshi. I hope I'm saying that right. That's a cool name. Minashi. Where's that from? That's a cool name. Never seen that name before. Okay, so just gonna wait for Nicola to write her question. There it is. From India. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Very stressed about the guy I told about. Will he reappear? I had delete. I'm chasing. Casey is from Sydney. Hey, I was from Sydney. Where did you live in Sydney? I used to live in Bondi. Bondi Beach Rescue. My mom actually got rescued by Bondi Beach guys. Cronulla. Ah, nice. That's awesome. Well, welcome, mate. Good to see you. Okay, so Nicola, I'm going to tune into your energy and let's see what comes through. Okay. You have an aunt in Cronulla, Hannah. That's cool. See, Australia, it's a small world, you guys. You know? I remember I was in Australia horse riding and I met a girl who grew up in the same small town in the middle of nowhere in Italy, where I grew up as well. So it's crazy. It is a small world. Interesting. Okay, girl. Listen, temptation's here. Okay, so either this is a temptation from you or him. So are you in denial about an unhealthy habit? Perhaps one that makes you feel guilty. This fairy says that you have the power to overcome temptation, whenever it guides you. So I kind of feel like this is. I gotta be honest, Nicola, because I know you now a little bit, right? So we've been going back and forth, and seems to be the loop. And I think one of the things with you is that you are an artist, you are very creative, and you have big emotions, okay? And so the problem with this is that sometimes in certain moments, and I'm guilty of this too, right? I have to really check in with myself sometimes because I'm very impulsive. So I have to oftentimes, and that doesn't mean I always succeed. Thank you, Hannah. I got you down. Um, but right now, you're strong, okay? But what's going to happen with the temptation card? It just takes that one day where you're feeling like crap, where you're feeling really bad. And yeah, I know you're fed up right now. Again, these are the extreme emotions, right? But then there's that one day where you feel lonely and then the temptation shows up. So, what I'm hearing here essentially is like it's saying, look in a book, okay? Look at something that you can fall back into to basically not allow you, number one, to repeat these cycles, these relationships that you seem to end up in that you're really unhappy with and that are very extreme emotionals. I would recommend, like what I'm hearing here is that this is the time, now that you're on your own, now that you've broken the contact, now you're on yourself, right? You're focusing on yourself. So it's a time for you really to dive deep and understand, again, wisdom. You got to learn from this situation. And I feel like you got to look at what happened, where were the red flags that you ignored, and look at yourself as well, because it takes two to tango, right? We attract a lot of the aspects of ourselves that are unhealed or that we need to heal, and obviously sometimes the good things, right? So there are things in this relationship that I think there's been so much that taught you so much about yourself. And at the end of the day, relationships are just a mirror to ourselves, to the unhealed or the healed aspects of ourselves. So, looking at this relationship, Nicola, I think this is just the time, the opportunity right now to revise and to look at that and have plan B. Plan B being on the days that you do feel tempted, the days that you do feel lonely, not to fall back into old patterns. I'm currently breaking a pattern, and it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult to do. Um, he can reach out to me. I do the art. Oh, he won't manage without me as I am healing him. Jacqueline, he be back when he. I can't read that. So okay. Well, here's the thing. Again, even in your words, I'm hearing it like you're saying it's over, but then I'm hearing there's still a cord attached. So that's the problem with you. It's like hi Sarah, welcome. Nice to meet you. So that's the thing with you, Nicola. I don't think you have always this awareness of how much your energy is strong. And the problem is that it's not over. I stopped chasing. Okay. But do you want it to be over? This is the question, because this is what I'm saying. You send very confusing messages. So at the beginning, you were like, I've cut him out. And now you're telling me it's not over. So this is the temptation card that I'm talking about. And this is the work that you need to do. Yeah, but Nicola, you can't, we've had this discussion before. You can't expect people to change for you. People do not change for other people. People change for themselves. And if he's not ready to do that, you cannot expect that of him because you will be disappointed. And this is why you get hurt, because you invest your energy, you put your time into it, and you're like, hey, if only you could. Pure example with what happened this morning with my husband. Love him to death. He won't change something. I walk away and let him figure it out. Because at the end of the day, it's his choice. And you got to respect that. And it's okay. It's frustrating. Trust me, I get it. But when you really love somebody, you know, it's just the way it is, whether it's going to turn out to be something, a relationship or not. And on top of this is the question that you have to ask yourself, Nicola. If this person would never change, would I still want to be with them? If the answer is no, then it's time to move. Exactly. It's time to move on. Oh, I see that Loney and Sarah know each other. I love it when people get into the chat and they're like, hey, mate, how you doing? So that's the problem, Nicola. Is this is the question that I get a lot of the times with people who are in relationships who are not happy. If the person never changes, would you still be with them? And if the answer is no, it's telling you everything about the situation, because you can't force somebody to change. It's like I would come to you and I would suddenly tell you, guess what? I want you to eat raw vegan for the rest of your life and never do art again because it does not match what I want. Even though the things that I'm asking, in my opinion, are valuable and fair, and in my mind, they're righteous, I'm asking you to completely change your whole lifestyle. And that's what it feels like to him. So you might be coming from the right place, and your asking might be the right thing for him. But if he doesn't want to do it for himself, there's nothing you can do, Nicola. So again, it's this temptation. He keeps lying and making. I know exactly, because you're trying to force him to be something that he's not. And so now, in order to keep the relationship, he probably has to mask the truth to keep the peace. So again, he cannot be himself because he doesn't feel safe being himself with you. And that's probably also vice versa. Okay. And I'm not saying you're doing or anything bad to him or you're abusing him. People just don't feel safe, because if somebody says who you are is not what I want, that already makes feel somebody unsafe. So in relationships, there's going to be pros and cons to people. Always. But you want to find somebody who you don't really want to change. You want to find somebody who you're like, listen, there's a lot of things about you that I don't like, but there are some core things that you cannot change about people unless they want to change. So again, going back to what we're talking about here, this is the stuff that you have to be aware of, Nicola. Is if you don't want to track these relationships anymore, these are the key ingredients that you have to start becoming self-aware, because we're projecting this again onto this person. It's him, it's him, it's him. And I'm sure he has a lot of wrongs, but again, you can't change him. The only person that you can change is yourself. Okay. So when you do the work for yourself, you will change what you attract. You will change what you manifest, but you have to work within first. Okay. Hey, love. Good to see you. Is there a course I can do? That's a great question, Nicola. I love that. So I don't know if there's anything out there, but it did say read a book. Okay. So I do think that there might be, I don't know if anybody here is watching can give some advice on a book or something to help her with that. I would say definitely Eckhart Tolle is a great choice when it comes to learning about The Power of Now is the book. It's called The Power of Now. I feel like that is a very empowering book in the sense of just building self-awareness and understanding how you have control in the presence. A New Earth is another one that he wrote that was pretty good. Did you read it? Maybe it's time to reread it. But also, it's like one of those things that maybe you got to look into something out there. Just put it out there, Nicola. I think sometimes when we're ready to learn, the teacher shows up, right? And the teacher can be in the form of a book, of a podcast, of a video, whatever it is. So I'd say right now, just take the time, to well, if somebody's dipping around and hiding, what does that tell you? Right? If I feel safe with somebody, I'm not dipping around and hiding. So this is what I'm saying, Nikolai. Sometimes when we love so hard and we're trying so hard to save somebody, it they can shrink. Yeah. So again, and then that means there's something that maybe I'm doing that makes it, I'm a lot. I know that about myself, and my husband knows that. Okay. But I'm aware of that. You would have asked me that 20 years ago. I was like, I'm not a lot. I'm totally fine. I am perfect, whatever. Ego, whatever, back in the day when I wasn't healed. But it took that awareness for me to go, damn, I am a lot and I'm okay with it, but then I have to manage it. When am I being controlling? When am I being aggressive? And I still do that. I still have to check in with myself. Yeah, but that's also because he's attracting that type of woman, Nicola. It's like the unhealed wound where you keep attracting the same person in a different body. That's probably what's happening with him. So he has his own lessons to learn, and you have your own lessons to learn. And I'm sure there's things that he did with you as well. So it's always two, right? But again, we can't change them. We got to change ourselves. So I would recommend, it's very clear here. Look into a book, start looking into how you can get the new wisdom to help yourself change, okay? And I think once you do that, you're going to start really like changing things. Hey, Silverback. Jacqueline's got a recent course on developing morning habits. That's a good one, and that can be a good way to interject some new self-love. I love that, Tim. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I also have one on night routines as well, so both of those. So that's a good suggestion. Oh, that's good to know, Rosie. Welcome, by the way. Um, all right. Well, then enjoy your dog, Nicola. But again, this still doesn't mean what you're doing now is just you're prepping yourself for the next possible relationship that you might manifest. And we don't want to repeat the same cycles. We don't want to keep going back and doing the same thing over and over again and then finding ourselves in the same situation and not knowing why. So, this is the opportunity for you to take some time, set the intention for yourself. I am going to look for a book or a course or something. It's going to come to me. It's going to teach me something about this situation so that I don't manifest it again. This all sounds too much like the old me. I used to always attract the same type of relationship. Yeah, yeah. And that's shadow work, by the way, guys. So if you are repeating the same cycle over and over again, what happens is this is shadow work. This is unhealed subconscious wounds that are trying to heal themselves by showing up on the external through, a repetition of a pattern or a cycle in your life. And that's usually the thing that we have to heal, and it's like screaming at us, but we keep doing the same thing and then it doesn't heal, and then we don't know why. I be prepared and be stronger. Absolutely, Nicola. Listen, you got this, girl. You're strong. You just need to put that love and that passion towards yourself a little bit more. And if you can do that, Nicola, I'm telling you, you're going to be a whole different woman. So love yourself as strongly as you love these people. Okay? Try to do the work, like the change that you wanted him to change. Do it for yourself. Okay? And then you'll attract somebody who will give that back. You got it, this Nicola. Awareness is the first step, and healing is a journey, not a destination. Love that, Tim. Oh, the wise Tim. The wise sage Tim. All right, Nicola, we're sending you so much love. We all are here cheering for you, and I know you've got this, okay? Oh, thank you. It's from Australia. Actually, this one is from Australia. It's not from Italy. I was going to say Italy, but no. Okay, Tim. Tim Darim. So I'm just going to plug out from Nicola. And tune into Tim. Yo, what's up, girl? Just chilling. Just having my tea. I find it so hard to take the step for change for myself. I have an amazing husband, but such a need to create conflict. Oh, I feel you, Rosie. Are you like Latina or Italian or Brazilian or something? Because I think that's in our blood. We like to fight. Thanks, I will do what you said. It helped when he does appear. I'd be stronger. Thanks. Absolutely, Nicola. You got this. You got this. So what's up, Tim? The fighting is more, if you think about it, trying to test somebody. It's sometimes for some of us. Uh, oh, you got ADHD? Close enough. Close enough to Latina, maybe. um, so fighting, oftentimes it's because many of us, if you think about things like tragedies like Romeo and Juliet, right? If the love isn't tragic and dramatic, then it's not real love. We associate the drama to the level of intensity that the love needs to be, and somehow if we say if the love is calm and easy, then the love is not deep. There's a weird subconscious association to that. So I would recommend for some of us to think about that. Everybody's got a different thing, but that's something that I realized for me, that came up. So if somebody's not screaming at me and yelling at me and fighting for me and being dramatic, then they don't really love me. Okay, I'm looking for any messages my future self may have regarding my focus. Should I keep a current course and dig into being grounded as I've been doing? Or is there a big change around the corner? Usually put him into towards creating a project. I will take your mind off him. Oh, that's nice, Hannah. Nicola, read what Hannah said. She's just saying just put your energy into putting into a project. Love should be easy, Keisha. Absolutely. That's exactly it. But again, if you grow up in a family where you've seen your parents fight a lot, and that's what you think love is. So it's hard for some of us. I've had some 2 steps forward, 2 steps back days. That emotional stress you mentioned resonated. I think I've been working through some old wounds and healing, and the emotions were strong this week. Okay, I gotcha. I've been returning to my masters. What would be optimal Tim do? And consistency over intensity. This things with that girl I liked are interesting, but I'm trying not to overthink that and accept the idea I can't mess it up if it's meant to be, which is also me not trying to dig into the usual desperate infatuation mental loops. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes Tim's, Tim's, there's multiple Tims. Sometimes, Tim, the thing is, if it's not meant to be, like you'll know, and if it's meant to be, you will know. It's almost like taking that pressure off of yourself. Um, and if it turns into a friendship, that's beautiful. And if it turns to something, more, then that's also beautiful. But I feel like when we take the pressure off ourselves, we get a win-win. It's when we invest too much and then try too hard, and then we lose everything. Okay, so let me just see. Let's tune in. Let's see. So either to optimal Tim. I love it how you're using that. Okay, we got it. Should I keep the current course or dig into being grounded? Okay. That was hot. Okay. Let's do this one. Yeah, see, Rosie, that's why that makes sense why you resonated with it, right? My parents divorced. It was epic. It was like drama central. It was like a Shakespeare play. So, you know, I took that on. And then I was recreating those type of extreme dramatic relationships that needed to be abusive and awful, actually. They were like super abusive. And my mom then tried to kill herself, and then I was like took that on somehow, and this is the whole thing. She went to a mental institution, and la da 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 da. And my dad being my dad's charming. He's just a little unaware. Just a little. Bless him. Ooh, okay, interesting. A desire, Tim, to move on. The search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. The power of creativity, recognition for very high quality work, be a team player. An unwise choice. Learn what you can from the situation. Reviews everybody's motives. What does that mean? Wait a sec. I'm just tuning in again because you're asking me many questions, so I have to. Okay, so I'm definitely hearing that there is a desire here, obviously, for change. I think the thing with you, Tim, is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you like that shift. I don't feel like you get excitement, you get drive from something new happening every day, right? It's not like the 9 to 5 boring thing that makes you, wake up in the morning and look forward to it. Whereas some people like that, the security. I think for you, it's more like the adventure. Yeah. So I'm gonna get some more cards because I need to get some clarity on this. So I feel like where they're going. Yeah, but like I'm a creature of habit. So for me, it's hard to I mean, now I embrace change, but I used to have a really hard time letting go, and I was very stubborn. Like I was saying at the opening of this reading, I was very like stuck in my ways, and it did not help. Like I still have like strict routines every day. I'm very uh, military, believe it or not. But I've learned that that doesn't serve me. So again, this is where we're going to get at with you. That's what we have to figure out. It's like if you're the type of person that runs away from something all the time, then you're repeating a cycle that probably isn't serving you if you want to evolve. Okay. Kelly in his picture. I know he's got a suit, guys, and he's in the ocean, so that should tell you everything about Tim. Rosie, absolutely. So right now we have a list going. So I have Tim, Christina, Minakshi. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher that name. And then Hannah. So people, when they give a donation, they just basically lock their position in. But if you hang around at the end of this, I'm happy to answer, or you can give a donation to lock your position in. But it's going to take a little minute. So either come and leave, or hang out and chill until your time comes. But I will get to you if you just wait. Okay. So this is the thing that I'm trying to figure out with you, Tim. It's because it was so cold during the photo shoot too. Yeah, imagine what it's like for the people who are shooting Baywatch. They all shot it in winter. Um, I'm in the middle of 6 week habit challenge for the Daily Stoic podcast. Oh, that's cool. So here's the thing, because I feel like even though there is this desire to move on, you see all that treasure that is left behind. So I'm kind of feeling like, honestly, like my gut is telling me that this is something that I feel like moving on is going to get you to the next adventure, and it's going to be exciting, and there's going to be more opportunities. That's without a doubt. I think you're very good at manifesting that. But I think you're leaving something behind if you do move on, in the sense of there's opportunities that right now you can't see because it's probably like that excitement or that drive or whatever that gets you going is kind of dimmed down. But sometimes that's when the breakthrough happens, when it's boring or when it's mundane. Sometimes that's the little things that actually create the bigger change that we just don't see. Um, See, because it's like learn what you can from the situation, review everyone's motive. So I guess my question to you is like, what is it about this that wants to make you move on? What do you feel that isn't working for you? You know what I mean? Because then we can dig a little bit deeper and figure out the core reason. Um, and I think with that girl, by the way, I feel like you're going to become to a mental clarity with her soon. You're going to know exactly where you stand and what it's going to be. For career things, I've been bored with my job for a while. Okay, so that's the thing that you want to move from. But again, I don't really need to know the details. It's more like I'm asking, why do you feel like this is not working for you anymore? And where do you want to go? Like, what is it that you want? Because when you look at the reasons why something isn't working, it could possibly show you whether it's something that, yeah, this makes sense. Like, all right, this is really just not working for me. Or it could just be like, I'm just like bored. For the relationship front, I've known this girl for over a year, and that's something where I've thought I was already in the friend zone, and another friend has been convincing me that I've been friend zoning myself. Ah, that's cute. She's quite convinced we're meant to be. That's so sweet. Hey, maybe you got to do some hints then. Sometimes that's what we need. We just need to tell them. I mean, sometimes, and again, it's not the desperate thing, it's just inviting them out for a movie or something and just seeing their reaction. Hey, there's this movie. Do you want to come? And then if they're not interested, they usually give you like the sign. She says it's so obvious that we are into each other and the two of us are the only ones that don't know. That's adorable. Maybe. I think you guys eventually going to figure it out. Anyway, let's get to the business. Stop going on about the girl, because that's going to sort itself out. Answer my question before. By the way, Peanut's here, guys. Those of you who don't know, that's my dog. He's chilling. Because that's going to solve itself. As long as you just do the right thing, eventually you'll know what to do. I've been found guilty. What did I do? Good night. Sorry. Okay, desire more purpose in my day-to-day creativity. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, my keyboard went haywire. Or did it? Okay, so this is making sense now. Because you see the power of creativity. Okay. Recognition for very high quality work. Be a team player. Okay. So this is making sense. Thank you. I know, he's the best, isn't he? Such a baby. All right, let's not get distracted by Peanut's adorableness. So, what I'm hearing here, essentially, I think, Tim, what you want is a status surge, okay? You want to upgrade. Look at that. Even the beam is perfect to the sword. You see the beam there? We're like, oh. So what I'm hearing here essentially is that this is like you're finally starting to ask for what you want and starting to be aware of. Creativity is my stoic word to live by for this year. Nice. I like it. So one of the things I think is that is happening is that you're starting to finally, because you're doing the work and you're actually investing in yourself, you're starting to become more and more aware of what you want. So what I'm hearing here is that don't do an impulsive decision. I've also been trying to make a higher quality Instagram reels and videos feed my creative soul, but I have a hard time with the full-time job bank where I don't make videos. I get it. And this is where I was going to get to. This is exactly where I was going to get to. So you got to make a plan. Okay. So, because the problem with people who are very impulsive or very creative, listen, when I quit all my jobs and decided to do this full time, I had saved up a lot of money to make sure that I was going to be okay for 6 months. And then it ended up being a year, and then I've never looked back. But I made plan B, because the problem is you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you go, okay, F it, I don't want to do this job anymore. And then I jump into something. It could work out or it couldn't. And then what? So my advice here, and this is what's making sense here, these two cards. First and foremost, you got to start caring for yourself a little bit more. That means, yes, asking for more of what you want, setting higher standards for yourself, and actually being okay with asking. And that's why all this work that you've been doing this last year, or this whole time that you've been really investing in your time and energy, you're investing into upgrading your status, your energy, your wealth, all of these things, but also enjoying it and breaking free of the matrix, all of this sort of stuff that you've been trying to do. However, if you aren't aware of your wounds, of the shadow aspects of yourself, so you can fall into pretty tricky situations, which is why for me, I knew that the best thing that I could have done was leave the job, but I had a need for financial safety. Now I'm the complete opposite. I don't care. Money just falls out of nowhere. But at the beginning, I had severe fear of just ended up on the streets. So I made plan B, and then I jumped in and then figured it out. But for you, this is where you're learning to care for yourself and listening to your needs and who you are and what you want. So you got to make a plan, Tim. That's all it is. And you got to look at all case scenarios here. It's like, okay, so if I quit my job, how much longer can I stay here? And you're saying you have a side hustle. It's a sacrifice. That means sometimes maybe not being as social as you are. That night that you go out with your friends and drink and have a good time, it's going to probably be the night where you're going to be editing reels and stuff like that. That is the reality of the situation. And that's something that I did and still do to this day. People always ask me, it's like, how can you create all this content? I don't really go out. I don't do anything else. I sit at home and I love it. I enjoy it. You know, I rather be at home on my computer doing my things and creating content and doing all that sort of stuff, creating healing practices and that, than being out and going out for a drink. But you're more extroverted. So I think it's just you got to delegate a little bit better. You got to structure your time a little bit better and understand that this is something that you can build. It's not going to be like tomorrow, but you can have it, but you got to build the map. And the map's going to change as time moves on. But then you know suddenly that this job that you have, you can learn from what you want from it, get the money, get the safety, but you know where you're going. And when the time is right, you're going to know when it's time to go. But you have to have that dedication, because if you don't have the dedication, then you're also saying, well, to the universe is like, maybe I want this. My friends do point out how crazy busy my schedule is with how much I socialize. Well, there you go. And he's one thing has to give, Tim. You can't. I mean, you can have both, okay, but it's going to be exhausting. You gotta self care. You gotta have time for yourself. You gotta have, and I think this is where you gotta make the map. Time with Tim, time with friends, time with the project that you're doing, and then time with work. Most of my video edits have been me staying up all night and not sleeping, or when work is slow and I can put edit during. Yeah, I know. I've worked day jobs and done this at the same time. I get it. But again, I didn't really have much of a social life. And when I did have a social life, that's when I was burnt out and exhausted, because I was trying to fit everything in and I wanted everything, but it doesn't work that way. I would better sleep, discipline. Yeah, you gotta have sleep, man. You're gonna burn out. And that's what happened to me the first time when I wasn't managing things well. I ended up burning out. So you can't have that. You gotta take care of your health. It's very clear. Okay. And I know you want this status surge, but you got to learn from this, and you got to learn to delegate, especially if one day you do want to do this as a full-time job, maybe the social media stuff. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The creative stuff, that still takes discipline and, you know, time and sacrifice. And in fact, if anything, sometimes those jobs mean that you have to work a lot more hours than a 9 to 5. I work 13-hour days sometimes, but I'm loving it. I'm having a great time. I can have a break when I want. I can do whatever I want in the same time, but I choose to do that because I know what it takes. So, you know, is that really what you want? You got to really sit there and make this plan and think about it in the long run. It is doable for you. It is possible, but you got to make the plan, Tim. You can't just like have this idea and not write it down on paper. Does that make sense? And sleep is crucial if you don't want to get sick or actually have long-term repercussions. Yeah, you're not 20 anymore, Tim. Actually, how old are you? You might be 20. I don't know. Yeah. And you're doing the work. Listen. Okay, see, you're not 20 anymore. Okay, good. Sure. So when you're 20, your body can take that. Not in your 30s, not in your 40s, and especially not in your 50s. So, you know, I make sure I go to bed at about 10 o'clock. It's my cutoff time, no matter what's happening. My husband's a night owl. Too bad, you know, because he sleeps in and I get up early. I'm like, too bad. I'm going to bed. So you can either watch the video upstairs with me or I'm gone. Like he knows at 10 o'clock that's my cutoff time. Um, or 60s. 60s you go to bed at like 8. No, I'm kidding. So does that make sense, Tim? There's a lot that you have to start figuring out, but if you really want something, the truth of the matter is it takes sacrifice. Something has to give. And I don't know if you guys know the formula to manifesting. This is actual witchcraft, by the way. It's not just like, you know, there's the triangle, okay, the three. It's you got to have white magic, you got to have blood magic, and you got to have black magic. Now, blood magic doesn't mean, you know, what you guys think it does, although sometimes they do use it for that. So the white magic is the intention, the blood magic is the sacrifice of something, whether it's your time, whether it's your energy. If you want to be a doctor, guess what? You're going to have to go to school and study. That's a sacrifice. If you want to be an athlete, guess what? You can't go out drinking and partying every day and eating whatever you want. There's a level of sacrifice to everything that you want. It's just the way it goes. Oh yeah, I've been burning the candle at both ends for a long time. The last year with health and fitness, I'm finally getting more disciplined in sleeping. And yeah, but that's also because you have issues with a little bit of issues with boundaries. So you really got to get to know yourself, Tim, and this is what's happening through all of this work that you're doing. Is you're really getting to know yourself, because even when I was doing that back in the day, I didn't realize I was an introvert. I thought I wanted to go out and experience, because I'm very open-minded and I loved, especially when I was younger, I was like, everything's exciting. But I burnt out all the time because I didn't realize I needed to recharge. I had time for me and just me in my own bubble for very long periods of time. And now I'm realizing it even more with family and friends. Like, I love going to family gatherings, but my God, they're boring. Like, the conversations that people have, I'm freaking brain dead. And the last time they were talking about like the different grocery stores to go to, I'm like, really, is this what life has come to, that we're talking about like the grocery store that is better? Anyway, sorry, I don't want to take up too much time from everybody else, Tim, but does that make sense? Yeah, Tim, you gotta give yourself a fucking break, dude. You can't, you gotta just give something and really sit down and think, okay, what am I ready to sacrifice? What needs to be, you've only got so much energy. And I'm telling you, if you end up burning out, which I did, I ended up in hospital for a long time. So you don't want that. And that's the self awareness, because you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing. Eventually, your body's gonna go, you know, and then it's going to go shut down mode. See you later. Get sick. Nah, we're done. And then it takes you 3 times, 6 times the amount of time to recover. Okay? So don't do that to yourself. Be wise. You're learning, but don't do that to yourself, because, I mean, unless do it and then you'll figure it out either way. But, like, again, your body can only do this for so much, and you're abusing your body. As much as you have a relationship with your friends, with everything else, you have to also have a relationship with yourself. Makes sense? We're not all perfect. We all have our things, but extremes do have extreme consequences. So we have to be aware of that. All right. All right, Tim, I'm going to move on just because of time. I could talk to you all day, even though we're not really talking, but you're chatting. But I love your energy as always. You're always fun, dude. I'm getting better at respecting my body limits. It's something I have boundary lesson on still too. I'll keep doing the work. Thank you. You're doing the work, dude. Yeah. But you also gotta do it. You gotta do it. Okay, sorry, I'm yelling at you. I feel like if I saw you, I'd be like, stop music, stop, Tim. And then I abuse you, which is makes total sense. Okay, Krista. All right. I'm gonna plug out of Tim. Okay, recent divorce. Oh, I'm sorry. And my husband moved away. We stay in touch a lot, and I get my hopes up we can work it out. He isn't sure it could even work out because of our history. I'm aware he hangs out with a girl twice a week, but insists they aren't dating. I'm joking, but I don't know. Is he being truthful about her? We'll find out. Does he still want me, and can we work it out and be happy together? He is moving back here but says it's not to be with me but wants to be around me. Yeah, he's definitely giving you confusing messages. I can guarantee that. I'm so confused and it's exhausting. Yeah, because he's giving you like very confusing messages. Is this worth continuing to fight? I know fight is a bad term. Don't worry about languaging to use, and you will say it. Nope, did not. Um, work it out how I'm supposed to, but need answers to not lose my mind. Okay, let's dive in. I'm getting my cards for this one. Okay, relax. Not you, Peanut. You're already relaxed. He's asleep. He does not care. Although sometimes when I kiss him, I'm kind of scared one of these days he's going to do gremlins. He's a chihuahua, so he's like chill, 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 and then blah, 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 blah. And then he'll bite me in the face out of nowhere if he's like grumpy. So he's bitten me on the nose a couple of times before when I went to give him a kiss. And I'm like, you. Oh, yeah. Okay. I will take all three. Let's go. All right, dolls. Yeah. So I didn't get anything about the girl, but I am getting a lot about you two and the situation. So first and foremost, yeah, we got the vampire card here. Energy draining is. I'll just read the card. The incarnated vampires are here to make you aware of where you may be giving your energy away. The real question is why. Are you people pleasing, seeking something from others, or allowing someone to take advantage of you? It's time to set firm boundaries and protect your energy. Your power is yours to keep, so reclaim it with clarity and self respect. Now, um, the Knights Paladin are here to awaken the warrior spirit to remind you that your inner strength, you are being called to rise above challenges with courage and resilience. This is not a time to see yourself as a victim, but as a warrior. Remember, the fight word that you said is actually important. And you're fighting for the wrong reasons, Krista. You need to fight for yourself, not for the relationship. I hope this is landing. Trust in your power, stand tall in your truth, and know that bravery is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. The choice to rise is yours. This is all going to make sense. They all came out very clearly. The incarnated cherubs love to be in love, and they are asking you to reflect. Are you more in love with the idea of something than the reality? Be mindful of perfectionism and the high standards you place on yourself and others. Love is meant to be felt, not just idealized. Reconnect with your heart and embrace the beauty of imperfection. Let go of unrealistic expectations and allow love to flow naturally, both within you and in your connection with others. The next card that you got is very interesting. The two ends of the card. So this is the Cosmic Witches. The Cosmic Witches is all about asking for more. You deserve more. Very simple. And then the first card is you need to have a bird's eye view of the situation. So a lot, okay, but I think the cards have been very, very clear, Krista. I don't want to discourage you. I don't want you to feel like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm a reader. I'm just reading energy. You do what's best for you, okay? Always understand that I'm not God and I don't have the answers to everything. I can only tell you what I'm reading. So I just want to make that very, very clear. So you have the choice to do whatever you want. However, the cards are saying that this relationship is not good in the sense of it's draining your energy. Like you said, you're losing your mind. You're not having a positive, hey, Jamie, it's not positively impacting you anymore. And the thing is, I'm going to go back to the question that I asked Nicola before. If you know that your husband will never change, would you still want to, your ex husband, sorry, would you still want to be with him? And there's confusing messages because in a way I feel like he's kind of keeping you on a string because he's not sure what he wants either. And so instead of doing the righteous thing, which is saying, look, this is exactly where I'm at, I feel like he's giving you mixed messages because I feel like he's trying to still keep you on that cord because he knows that you still obviously want to work things out. So what I'm hearing here is a couple of things. So one of them is you got to take a bird's eye view of the situation. And one of the things that I can say with that is like, if you had a friend, a really close friend of yours who's going through what you were going through, what would your advice be to her? Because when we're inside of a situation where, first and foremost, you've been married to this person, you've been with them for a long time, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of history, a lot of, also, you guys got to understand something about relationships. There's a chemical addiction that happens with your partner. When you've been with somebody for a long time, there's a chemical bond that happens physically. It's like drugs. So when you separate, you're withdrawing physically, emotionally, and spiritually from that person. It's not just the love and all that sort of stuff. There's so many layers to it, which is why it makes it so hard to just walk away from somebody that you've been with for a very long time. So if you could try your best, my love, to detach as best as you can from the situation and really look at it from the most neutral perspective. If you saw somebody going through what you were going through, if you saw somebody, I mean, obviously, I feel like he also still wants to be friends with you. I'm not saying he's a bad person, by the way. I'm not saying that he means bad. But sometimes when people don't know what they ask for or they don't know what they want, they do things out of character because they're not, they don't know. So they're trying all different things to try and catch on to something. Um, so what I hear here at the end of the day is like the Cosmic Witches is such a beautiful card because it's asking you to reach for something more, to really think about, Krista, what do you want? What do you want in a relationship? What do you want in a partner? What do you want in love? What do you need, more importantly? Okay, wants are one thing, needs are another. And I feel like if you start focusing on that and looking at your husband, how much of that does he truly, or your ex-husband, sorry, how much does he truly fulfill? There's a reason why you two divorced. There's a reason why this didn't work out. I'm not saying things can't work out again, but it takes a lot of work sometimes and two people to tango, and a lot of change has to happen. And if one person's willing to do the work but the other isn't, that's where the Vampire card comes in. Your energy is just being drained. Definitely reached more about a dopamine hit. We talk 5 to 7 days per week. I hold on and can't seem to let go. I know what I want in the partner, and uh, this blow up and ended up, yeah. So, Krista, this is the other thing. That's what I'm feeling as well with you guys, is that the problem is the fact that you keep talking to him all the time and you keep having this connection, you're reaffirming that dopamine hit. I would suggest, again, I'm not your therapist here, but I would suggest to try to have a little bit more of a distance, not being so, because you guys, even though you're broken up, you still behave as though you're together. And my concern here is that this girl that he's hanging out with, let's just say he's lying and he ends up with her. What do you think's going to end up happening to you? You're going to still be in that emotional state, and he's going to move on and literally abandon you. So I'm not saying this is what he's going to do, but you got to be smart. And this is the warrior that needs to step in. You got to protect yourself. You got to make sure that your heart is protected and that you don't get hurt by this person all over again, that you don't get dumped twice. So the fact that he's telling you that there's another girl there, again, he might be honest and it might be true, but then why is he telling you if he's not concerned? Again, there's all these things, right? Behaviors. Look at people's behaviors. You got to watch why people say things behind the veil. If I'm with my husband and I've been attracted to other people while I've been with him, and I tell him, I was like, hey, just so you know, I had, because I'm an actor and I have to do chemistry with other people, and it does happen sometimes. You're like, you're kind of hot, like, oh, no, can't do it. I'm married. Sorry, I forgot. Okay, sorry, babe. But me telling my husband is me being respectful to him and saying, hey, just so you know, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, nothing's going to happen, but there was an attraction. It's normal. We're animals, right? But I'm doing it from a place letting him exactly know where I'm at and what's going on. If I was lying and I'm trying to feel guilty about it, I could go about it different ways, or never say anything. Or if I'm trying to manipulate him to get me, think of it kind of like, you know what I mean? Look at all the sides, and this is the bird's eye view. Maybe not. Maybe he just likes to, maybe that's the friendship that you guys have. I don't know. But again, you're saying it because it's affecting you and it bothers you, and he probably knows that. Why would he tell you that there's another girl hanging around? Maybe he wants to make you jealous. I don't know. People do things because we're stupid. Make me jealous, and sure, he enjoys her attention. There you go. Okay. And this is manipulative behavior. This is not respectful, Krista. Like I said, I'm married, but if I am attracted to somebody, my husband knows. And again, it's not because I don't feel like I can control myself or anything like that. It's just because I'm out of respect for him. He needs to know, hey, just so you know, some hot guy around, like nothing's going to happen, but we have a romantic scene together, and I'm just letting you know it's, the things are happening. And he's like, cool, he's not jealous at all. He knows I'm honest, but I'm being respectful. It's a very different energy. And that the fact that you're telling me he's torturing you, this is not a good relationship, my love. There's a reason why you left, and I'm just going to be blunt. I feel like you need to move on. And I feel personally that you need to cut the conversations with him. Not fully. I'm not saying never speak to him again. But if you're 5 to 7 days a week on the phone with him, why? That energy that you're putting in this relationship, first and foremost, should be around you healing yourself and also creating a new relationship possibly for yourself. But as long as this man is holding up your energy, you're not going to be able to create a new relationship. And I'm very worried about the fact that I'm telling you right now what's going to happen is that he's going to end up creating a new relationship, leading you on this whole time, and then you're going to end up being heartbroken again. So you have to step into the inner warrior and you have to protect Krista. You are your own priority and you just cannot. And first and foremost, not that I want to play manipulation here, but if you cut down the conversations, it's going to drive him nuts because he doesn't have any control over you. So FYI, little tip to getting your power back. But you gotta, you're addicted to him and you're addicted to this imaginary relationship because it's safe for you both to be in this limbo, but somebody's going to do something and it's not going to end well. So the cards are very, very clear here. You gotta ask for more and you gotta demand more for yourself. You gotta have a little bit more self-respect and just say, look, if I'm also, by the way, if I was with my ex and he's talking about another girl, oh yeah, I'm dumping that guy. I've never knew. Have some respect for me. So that also tells you a little bit right about yourself. It's like, why am I tolerating that? He ended up playing me, as you said, and yes, I have to deal with the death again that I haven't healed from. He's done it once. He's probably going to do it again. And the reason why you're still here, my love, is because you keep falling for his games and you let him. That's the hard part that we have to be admitting to ourselves. We let them. Because if you wanted this to end and you don't want to play this game anymore, the truth of the matter is you have the power to end it at any point. So my advice is stop giving your power away. And you might not be aware that you're doing that, okay? I'm not blaming you for it. We've all been there, but you are. He's going to do what he's going to do. And you're giving him the energy and the time, the vampire card, to keep feeding on that, and he enjoys it. So it's a power game here. It's like, how long can I have this girl and this girl in this situation? Because he probably gets off on that. I don't know why. People do. Men like power. So does that make sense, Krista? I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. I know it's harsh. He probably does, Krista, want you. I'm not saying he doesn't. Don't ever think like that about yourself, okay? Because now you're just putting yourself down, and don't do that. I'm sure you're a beautiful woman. He wanted you once, and there's a reason for that, because you're amazing. But when somebody's toxic, they suck out the good on a person. Vampire. Okay? And they take away your self-worth. They take away your self-esteem. But again, my love, you have to remember you're also giving him that energy. You are beautiful. There's a reason why he wanted you. And then I'm sure there's other men that want you. But they don't know you exist because your energy and time is invested in this person who is not valuing you, who's not respecting you, and who's not seeing you for who you are. And it's probably a little bit of self-esteem here, my love, that you need to look into. Why do you feel that this is what you're worth? Why do you feel that being treated like this is okay? And I'm coming from a place where I can 100% relate, okay? But you got to take your power back and you got to stop giving this man energy, and you got to cut out the dopamine hit, because you're living that fantasy, which is sometimes more exciting than the reality of the situation. And he's playing you like a violin. So don't let that happen anymore. I just say, just try to be neutral. Just maybe cut down, like coming off drugs or coming off sugar or coming off anything. It's that like shortening down the time, because you're going to have more energy back to yourself, and you're going to be able to really start looking at the situation and understanding it really for what it is, and not so much, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I think it's very clear. I wish I was giving you more positive, but it is positive if you make the changes. Does that make sense? And by the way, we're all rooting for you here. We all want the best for you. So take this in, take some time to think about it, and just reflect on it. I also repost these lives, by the way, on my YouTube channel. You can find it on my profile. So if you want to rewatch this just to let like that sink in again, maybe you need to be retold just to give you that motivation, then just go and check it out, okay? And then I have Meenakshi next. You're welcome, Krista. You're worthy. Just a general question. Want to improve relationship with family and friends. What can I do? Ooh, just an easy question. Okay, I'm with you. Give me 1 second. Just an easy question, which is the most complicated question of all time, my friend. Relationships are the most complicated. Oh, that's hot. Okay. So let's see. That's something that I'm still trying to work out myself. It's not an easy one. Hey, Alicia. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so the first one that we got is celebration. Let your hair down. So oftentimes, I'm so itchy, guys, because of the hives, by the way. Yes, I have hives. Hi, welcome to those who just joined. I have hives. I have an allergy reaction, so it was a whole story at the beginning of the live. If you missed it, it was funny. Good morning. So, one thing that I'm hearing oftentimes, usually the issues that we have with people and relationships is it could be expectations, it could be a way that we want a person to be or respond, or how we show up. We want ourselves to show up a certain way or not react a certain way. And then when the challenge arrives, we're not very good at that. So, what I'm hearing here essentially is that I feel like you need to, I don't feel like you're not a relaxed person, and maybe the people around you are not relaxed. Something about somebody not being relaxed. I don't know if it's your family or friends or if it's you, maybe that's a little bit more rigid. Um, but what I'm hearing here essentially is like the not trying to change things is the key situation here. Is just like fully, even though it's crap. Like sometimes, especially your family. But sometimes it's like somebody's doing something really really bad, or they're just like being very stubborn, and we try to convince them of you know that's not right, and and we're all guilty of that, right? But what ends up happening when we start having these debates or these arguments, or me expecting them and them expecting me, it creates friction and it creates problems, and then it creates all this sort of ripple effect. So what I'm hearing here essentially, it's like, what if you could show up completely neutral and no expectations, and not trying to have an impact in a way, try to protect them or try to save them, or vice versa, or let them protect you and save you. It's kind of like taking off the pressure, if this is making any sense. Try to bring back the joy, the lightness. People like that in friendship. There's that one friend who's always like happy and joyous and has always got that bright light and doesn't create drama. Somehow they're the most best person to be around usually. So again, coming here from myself as well, because I'm usually the intense one. But um, let me get some more, because this is a complicated question. It's not such a easy, and it depends also like what you want specifically. Minakshi. So is it like, do you want? Sure, I'm always worried about disappointing people. Okay, so you're putting the pressure on yourself, right? Okay, let's see if I can get. Oh, nice. Oh, I love this. I got some good cards here. So you got relationship bliss, loving union, teamwork, and the high priestess. Okay. So again, it's this expectation. I keep hearing expectations, which is what we're saying. How do I word this? So one of the you got to show up differently, and in the sense of also how you show up for yourself. So when you show up right now, I think that you're trying to show up as this perfect version of yourself, as this version who maybe makes everybody else happy, or that says the right things or does the right things. It's not realistic, in the sense of no one can do that. some people can fake it up to a point, but eventually they slip. And that's not good because it puts too much pressure on yourself. This is what I was saying about being a little bit more relaxed and letting your hair down, because it's almost like, I need to hear this for myself, by the way. This is advice that I'm giving to myself. Yes, so I have Hannah after this, Kelly, and then I don't have anybody else who've given donations. So if you want to hang out. Um, so the thing that I'm seeing here is almost like what I've been trying to do, because I have an issue with this as well, and it's actually current. I feel like I don't connect with people when I'm in social situations. I don't feel like I have anything to add. I think everybody else is on a whole other dimension and planet, and I'm some alien that showed up half the time. So it's very difficult, right? Yeah. And so what I keep trying to tell myself is that, I have a choice also not to show up, which is what I've decided to do moving forward. If I don't feel like going to these family gatherings, I'm just not going to go. And it's not because there's anything wrong with anybody else. It's because every time I go, I'm super disappointed and I feel very uncomfortable. Or if I show up and it gets weird and I'm really starting to feel that thing, because then I have to drink alcohol to be around people, and I don't want to do that. So I just leave. I just gave myself permission to say I don't have to freaking please anybody. I don't have to do anything. And if I want to show up as my best self, I got to give myself what I need in that moment too. So I can show up with a smile, have a good chat, have talk about the weather for 5 minutes, because I can handle that only for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then go away. I can go home. I don't have to stay. And I don't have to give a reason why I left. And so if I want to stay, great. But I was just like, if when I gave myself permission to do that, suddenly I was like, I know it's not conventional. It might not be the right thing to do, but it feels good. It feels right for me to do that. I gave myself permission to do something that is probably a win-win for everybody, because you don't want me there when I'm not having a good time, right? Because my energy is like, I'm just like, oh yeah, you know, and I'm really just suffering on the inside. So I feel like maybe you're just a bit more of an introvert as well. I feel like you might have just a little bit more, like, I think you're feeling the pressure of this, like, having to be a certain way and showing up a certain way. And because you're trying to be something that you're not, like myself, you end up disappointing people anyway. Because you're not going to be happy in those situations, and you don't know what to say and you don't know how to be. And one thing, yeah, because this makes sense, because I've even gotten these signs, it's like you're by yourself with animals and in nature, and then you're reading books. Okay. So I felt like, and here's the thing, it's like we're told that these are things that we have to be in order, like, it's all BS, man. And I will tell you one thing that I heard somebody that made me feel better. Some people who have really high value and very, very high self esteem of themselves, they don't just give their energy to anybody. Somebody has to earn the right to be in their space. And I'm not coming from a place of I am greater than thou and I am like up here. It's more about when you're an introvert, you've only got so much energy to give. I only have so much. If I am social for 2 days in a row, I am exhausted after 2 days. I just do not have the energy to give. This is different because I'm doing spiritual work and I'm talking about stuff that I'm actually passionate about. Very different. I get energy from this. So, in a way, I feel like you might feel guilty for that. I think there's a part of you that is like, but I should be this way and I should think this way and I should show up this way, which is how I feel. But we can't. So, you know, like, what are you going to do? I just am not sure if I'm being selfish when I prioritize myself. I mean, I'm going to ask this because, again, I can relate to you a lot right now. So I'm trying not to make it about like the connection, because it's hard when I'm reading for somebody and I can like really currently resonate, which I haven't healed myself from it yet. I don't think you're being selfish. I'm just listening. I'm trying to get some downloads. I'm trying to hear what I need to say, because obviously sometimes this is a little bit too close to home. So what I heard was basically, you're not being selfish, you just have to adapt. The selfishness is not serving you. Okay, so saying that you feel selfish, it's not true. You're actually doing something that a lot of people wish they could do. You're doing something that a lot of people don't even know how to do. And that is the highest priestess, okay? That's knowing your worth deep down. The guilt comes from programming and societal expectations and family and friends and all that sort of stuff. Tim needs to learn about being more selective. You should take a note from this, Tim. Um, what I'm hearing here is that, again, you're trying to develop meaningful relationships, and the truth of the matter is that if you're a deep person and if you're like um, a sensitive person and an introvert, you don't need 500 relationships. You just need one or two that are deep and meaningful. And again, that requires to be a little bit more selective, because if you want to develop those friendships, I mean, some people are all about like having 20 friendships. Great if you got the energy for that, but what I like is to develop deep relationships with just a few people. Of course, I'd like to have other people in my life, but for me, that's valuable. Um, so what I'm hearing here essentially is like you really got to just stop looking at it from a perspective of guilt and just start to understand it. Don't judge yourself for wanting something because of who you are, but try to understand why is it, and don't again judge it because you're judging yourself. You're saying I'm wrong for feeling this way. I'm wrong for being this way. That's not normal. That's not okay. Who said? Did anybody tell you that? And if they did, oftentimes it's because they can't give that to themselves. So, what if it's right? What would be the benefit of being like this? You know, and that was my husband telling me that, by the way. I didn't even come up with it myself. He was like, if you don't want to go, don't go. If you're going to feel like this, what's the point? I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was like, just say hi and come for 5 minutes and then go away. I'm like, yeah, I show up, I give love, and I can show up fully as myself. I can give that light that I want to give. I want to make them feel great, and then I fuck off. You know, because I know I'm going to get awkward after a while. I am really bad socially. It's actually a problem. So, does that make sense? But you are going to have good relationships. I do see this for yourself, but you just got to be okay with that and just relax around it. Stop being so hard on yourself. It's not helping you. It's just going to make you more put higher expectations on yourself and then try to be against something that you're not and push yourself to do things that you don't want to do, and you're going against your nature. Everyone has their own nature. If you go against your nature, it's going to have repercussions. Tim. I'm kidding. Okay, so you there? Meenakshi, does that make sense? Thank you, makes sense. I would have no fake relationships. Exactly. And, you know, for some people, they like the surface thing. There's nothing, you know, I feel like some people, you know, I get it because I'm like that. But to some people, they like the surface relationships. And that's amazing. You have fun with that. And they don't want the deep relationship. They can't handle that. And for some people, it's the other way around. You know, we cannot deal with like the, how's the weather and which grocery store do you want to go to next week? I'm like, why don't we talk about life and death and like demons and angels and space and aliens? Like, why would you spend your energy on like groceries? Who cares? You know, so each their own. You know, you are so welcome, my friend, and you actually helped me here as well. It's funny how when I give readings, I benefit too. All right, best of luck, my love. Okay, so Hannah and healing kind of soul, Maniksha. Oh, I love that. So your time and energy is worth more than you give yourself credit for. I love that, Tim. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, Tim's the best. You just want to give him a big hug. Hannah, I'm just after a general reading. A lot of today's readings resonated with me. Okay, good. Done my job. No, I'm kidding. Okay, let me check in. Ooh, my cards want to come and play. And by the way, hello everybody who's just hanging out and checking out. I see some bubble heads. I appreciate you. I see you. I feel you. I love you. I appreciate the audience. And of course, the love that everybody's sharing energetically with one another on this live, which is awesome. Oh, interesting. Okay. Finally got something a little bit different, Hannah. So with you, usually I feel like I sometimes get some of the same stuff, but there's been a little bit of a shift here. Very specific. Interesting. Oh yeah, I'll keep all of these. Okay. God, I love my cards. Okay. So, very specific. Cyboa. Cyboan. I don't know how to say your name. I think you were here last time, right? Are you the one from Ireland? And I couldn't pronounce your name? It's like Irish names are like really spelt a certain way, but they're pronounced completely different. But hi. Okay, so Hannah, very specific and very interesting. This is very specific about self-programming and energy and what you're taking in. So you got the water witches, the kitchen witches, the crystal witches. You're a witch. No, I'm joking. And of course you got the warlock and the elves. So that doesn't mean anything to you. It means a lot to me. There, see, I knew you were the Irish one. I was like, I can't read it. It's the Irish name. Siobhan. See, how is that Siobhan? It's like Sayoban. Sayoban. It's not even Siobhan, but I love it. Okay, sorry. Back to Hannah. So, there's some work that you need to do, Hannah. You're ready to evolve. You're actually there's I feel like there's a part of you that is like, enough. I'm ready for the next step. I am ready to shift. I am ready to call in. I've like, and I know you've probably said it before, but this time something's really clicked in where you are ready and it's time to do the work. So, very specific stuff is coming through. So, one of them is you got to be very aware of the way that you're speaking to yourself, okay? So, the Water Witches, this is one of my favorite cards because this is one of the practices that completely changed my life. Everything is created through the energy and the way that we perceive ourselves and the world, our beliefs, yada, 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 all the law of attraction, law of mirroring stuff. But it's very true. The problem is the warlocks here, which is the shadow work. There's so much stuff. Let's just say we're conscious 10%. 90% of the stuff that we're creating, we're so unconscious. So now you got to do some shadow work. Essentially, what is asking you to do is to start becoming very aware of the repetitive patterns and cycles, that beliefs that you're creating. Those are the things that are blocking you from moving forward. Those are the things that are creating the reality that you don't want. So again, for me, affirmations changed my life. I still practice them every single day. It really genuinely changed my life. So for me, that practice works. Again, I sometimes say it out loud. If I catch myself saying something negative about myself or a situation, I rewire it and reprogram it. I do not allow myself anymore to talk badly about myself if I can catch it, because I know the consequences of that behavior, which is creating a terrible life, which is what I had before. And now I'm taking it to the next level. I've been doing new practices and stuff, and I feel so good. And my behaviors are starting to follow because of those actions. So the Water Witches essentially is like, you gotta think of your body, Hannah, as a computer or as a memory bank. And when we say negative things to ourselves, I can't do this, I'm not worthy, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, there's nothing around me. Like, I remember last time you said that you wanted to create a community and you were like, but there's nothing around here. Those are such limiting words that even if we're projecting it on the outside, we're creating that cage and we're recreating that cage. So be very aware of what you're taking in and what you're saying, and just basically the elf is become a master at a new way of doing things, at a new habit, a new beliefs, a new words, a new perspective. So I can only think of like a couple of things. What was the recent thing that I said? Okay, so my old programming, for instance, was, I was very wounded by my acting career because I was taking off and I was doing great when I was younger. And then I got wounded, and then I've realized that one of my beliefs was that the industry is a bad place. The industry is blah, blah. I built up this resentment and this like wound that was recreating that. And now I shifted that and I started to write letters to my old self. And I was like, the industry is going to be the industry. What am I doing here? And so I started looking at myself and I was like, well, if I look back, I already took off. Things did happen for me. Who sabotaged it wasn't the industry, it was Missy over here. And so I took accountability. And now I'm rewiring those beliefs by saying new things and new affirmations and creating new beliefs about the industry, new beliefs about my relationship with the industry, and new relationship with my old self, who I have to forgive for effing it up. It was nobody else's fault but mine if I really look back. Yeah, people did things and said things and whatever, but it's my reaction and how I went about it and what I did in those times. So I'm not saying you have to do this, but essentially what I'm saying is like when we become aware of really the root cause and the problem, then we can fix it. But as long as we allow that programming to run, we have no power. And in fact, the Crystal Witches is all about changing your environment, being aware of what's toxic in your environment, what is in your world that you don't like. That is already showing you where your beliefs are. It's the law of mirroring. So if I can't make money, I have a belief that I don't deserve money. If I can't create relationships, I have a belief that I can't manifest love. Oh, you had a dream about a witch recently. There you go. That's a confirmation. So now that I'm aware of the things that I can hate and I don't like, how am I believing this? What is within me that's creating this over and over again? Yes, there's people, places, and things that come against me. Yes, people suck. Yes, the system is rigged. Yes, all of that. Okay, I am with you on that. But you are more powerful than that. Because I've seen it in myself where I've just like my career just took off. I entered rooms that I shouldn't have been in. I've met people. I went to the Oscars, guys. I was on the red carpet at the Oscars. The stuff that I have manifested, it's insane. So I know it can be done, but we have to believe that we can change it, and we have to take that power back by changing that belief. So it's about rewiring those beliefs, Hannah, and they're really encouraging you to think of it kind of like building a life that you want, and what is it going to take for me to get there. So like I said, for me, I'm doing affirmations every day. I started to like, I changed my diet a little bit. I'm actually like calorie counting now, not because I need to or whatever, because my whatever, I'm just trying to take better care of myself in ways that before maybe I was a little bit more relaxed, or the identity that I'm trying to embody. I don't work out as much, but I am doing a little bit more of this. I'm taking care. I'm doing more meditations and energy work. Like I'm doing everything that I feel is going to lead me to a better self, and the things that I know I need to change, but I've been slagging off on because, well, girl likes a glass of wine once in a while, and maybe a little bit too much, and I know that's not good for me. So I'm like, all right, I need to change that. But in order to change that, I have to make a decision of a commitment of this, and in order to make, so again, it takes work. The sacrifice, again, going back to what I was saying before, guys, something has to be sacrificed. And no goats, please, or chickens, or animals. um Tim, I just use ChatGPT, man. I'm like, listen, this is how many calories I want. I want a high protein diet, vegan. I'm like, tell me what I should eat today. Done. I'm like, I'm not that fancy. I'm like, you tell me. And it's been great. I've actually been enjoying it because I don't have to think about it. And I'm really good with my diet, by the way, but I can't work out right now. So, I mean, I can, but I can't work out as much because when I work out as much as I do, I can, do whatever I want, eat whatever I want. But again, you get slack, you get relaxed. It's just discipline. It's just changing things, just trying new things. Marianne, yeah, absolutely. So, one second. Keats. Sorry, somebody's at the door. Of course, the timing is always crappy. Hey! Sorry. One second, guys. Hey, 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 hey. So sorry about that. My husband was downstairs the whole time and just didn't do anything about it. It's like, you have a package. I'm like, great. It's thought somebody broke into the house again. We've had one other live where I thought somebody broke in. Long story. Anyway, okay. So, go get him, Peanut. Yeah, he thinks he's a pit bull. Okay, so great affirmations. So here's a little trick about affirmations, guys. It's very, very important that you know this about affirmations. So when you start doing affirmations, let's just say you're poor and you want to become a millionaire. You cannot go from I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, and your system's going to be like, you are full of crap. So it's baby steps with affirmations, very important. So when I started healing, I was so low. I hated myself. And I knew that that was what I was telling myself. I'm a loser. Nobody will love you. You're never going to amount to anything. That was the affirmations that I was telling myself at the time. I mean, those were the thoughts that I was having. So I can't go from that to I love myself. It's too much of a jump. So I started to go, I can learn how to heal. I am learning how to get better. If other people have done it, so can I. I am capable. I know I can get better. And then from there, I went from blah, blah, blah. From there, I went from blah, blah, blah. And then now I can actually say to myself, I love myself. But that took a long time to get there. Or with money is the same thing. When I started, I wasn't making any money. I just manifested another chunk of money, which is awesome. And now I can say I'm a millionaire. And then next I'm going to step it up to I'm a multi-millionaire. So it's the baby steps that you're going to get there. And I'm slowly, slowly getting to that goal. So, but I couldn't do it when I was like still a waitress, even though I would like to say that to myself. And it's the consistency of it. That's the other thing. So Marianne, it depends what it is that you want to manifest. I do affirmations specifically on the things that I want to manifest or the things that I need to heal about myself. So when I write my affirmations every day, what do I need to heal? I work on that. And what do I want to manifest? I work on that. And those are my affirmations. This message resonates with where I am right now. I feel like I've hit a turning point with the healing. Yeah. And again, that requires real commitment, you guys. It's not like you can say an affirmation once and then just hope for miracles to happen. You have to be consistent. So for me, I just found a routine every single day where I write a full page of affirmations. I have my diary, just to show you, like I'm not just talking here, affirmations, and then I write in my diary. This is every single day. This is what I do every morning. Okay, it's the commitment, and I've been doing this for years. So the only reason why it works, it's because I've been consistent, and it's like brushing my teeth. This is a non-negotiable. This is essential. So if you think of it as something, it's like, it's just saying a couple of words, it's just going to be that. But this changed my life. And to give you enough, and as you can manifest with affirmations, you will manifest with affirmations. One of my affirmations was, I will win the green card lottery. And guess what happened? I won the green card lottery. So is it a coincidence that I was saying affirmations and I won it? I don't know. So I use visual more than affirmations. Okay, that's perfect. Look, whatever works for you, but also sometimes this is the thing, when you want to upgrade your healing practices, you also need to upgrade your practices. So things can work for a certain period of time, but sometimes we have to tweak them. So if nothing's changing in your life and you've reached the cap of that possibility, you can still use that, but maybe you need to add something more to it to like put it on steroids, basically. Because that's the thing as well. Like I look at my practices, and if I'm noticing that I'm getting stagnant or stale, then I'm like, okay, something needs to be updated here. It's not fully it's reached its limits. It's like when you go to the gym and you get to a certain level, and if you want to bulk up, you're going to have to increase the weights. So it's like any practice. You just have to maybe sometimes tweak it or add of something or take something away. It just depends. But trying something new sometimes can surprise you, and it changes the frequency, it changes your relationship with it, and can activate all new experiences. So does that make sense, Hannah? I know you said it's resonating, but yeah, that's what I'm hearing. It's like you really gotta like just find a routine or a commitment or something, and mostly just be aware of what you don't like, and don't reaffirm it. So if I say to myself I'm an idiot, I'm like, no, I'm not an idiot. Clear, cancel, delete. I am human and I am willing to learn. Like I can change it just to a more positive thought, but I will say it out loud. if I'm driving and I catch myself saying something negative, or everybody's messed up and blah, 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 blah. And I go, wait a minute, do I want to create this? Is this something that I want to manifest? No. Can I choose a better thought? Yes. Then choose a better thought. So I try to be, I mean, of course, we can only be aware of so much, but just that act alone, guys, can be such a life changing practice because you're starting to rewire your brain. You're starting to rewire the cycles and you're bringing that subconscious thoughts to the surface so that you don't recreate that anymore. So, yeah. You're welcome, Hannah. Okay, so now I've gotten through all of the donations. So if anybody, I remember. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, thank you. I hope so. So I remember, I think it was Kelly. Who was it that wanted a. I have to go back. I can't find. Kelly, yeah. Was it you that wanted a reading? I can't go back all the way. Me! Okay. All right, so Kelly wants a reading, and anybody else who would like a quick card as well, just put your name down and I'll write it down. So anything coming up about me going through a shift? I'm in this very uncomfortable time and needing some direction on moving through it. Okay, Alicia, I got you down. And Carly, absolutely, I got you down. Okay, so let me tune in. And 7. Oh no, I thought you wanted one. My pleasure. Okay. Kelly, sometimes uncomfortable is not a bad thing. Sometimes being uncomfortable, it's like actually a sign that a shift is happening. So just so you know. I'm so itchy. The hives are attacking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So yes, you need to ask for more help. Okay, you've got too much going on, and you're trying too hard to please others. So there's like this. Really, it's like a poverty mindset that you still have been holding on to, Kelly. It's like an old belief that you're somehow ingrained in yourself. I feel like this is really coming from childhood as well and from experiences that you had throughout your life that's reaffirming this. And you need to break this. So this is why this is coming up as well. It's time to end that habit, which is also probably why it's uncomfortable. I think there's an uncomfortable because it's just, yeah, got you down, floor. It's just not in alignment with the new version of you that you're trying to become. Um, so I want you to understand that whatever this thing that you're trying to shift, it's very old. So it's not easy to break free from. So one of the things that I'm hearing is that you've got to stop believing that you're on your own, that you can't have help, that things can't work out for you. I think it's really stemmed in that lack belief. It's a real like poverty mindset, not necessarily financially, although it can manifest that way. I think it's more to do with relationships and with like environment kind of thing. So the other thing that they're saying is that they really want you to be proud of yourself though. Like you've done so much work on yourself. Like it's really clear that they are like, take great pride in the excellent work. Practice makes perfect. Considering getting additional education or training. So again, it could mean that maybe it's also time for you to get like a little bit of help, and that means maybe a coach or like I know maybe you have a therapist or I don't know, but like maybe a coach. I'm asking, just not receiving much. Right, but that's because it comes from the lack. So sometimes when we start asking, the truth of the matter is that we expect people to just go, "Oh, okay," or the situation to shift. When you're in the old, it takes time for it to catch up. So the point is, don't give up on the asking, because eventually you're going to get a yes. And this is the lack, right? This is what I was saying. It's like in relationships, in situations, it's a lack. It's like, and sometimes we manifest it because now I've made the change. I'm finally asking for help, but your environment, it's still the old environment where people just took. So it takes time for that to shift into the version of you where you start attracting people, places, and things that start saying yes. So I hope that makes sense, because when we make the change, it takes time for our environment to change. It doesn't just happen overnight. And that's also going to start meaning that you might start moving away from certain people and places and things that don't align with you anymore. Because now that you are a little bit more healed and that you are asking for the things that you want, you're realizing that your environment is not actually supporting you maybe the way that you want. So, okay, a situation has ended and you are now finally free. New opportunities for happiness will follow. Put the past behind you. So again, it's a transition phase, and that's what I felt from the beginning when you were saying that I don't feel like it's a bad thing that you're uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable because you're trying to do something new in an old place, and that's all it is. So it will come about, and your spiritual team, by the way, I can really hear it. They're super proud of you. Like, they're really, really proud of you. Even though, again, on the outside, you're not getting that validation yet, I promise you, you will with time. But you got to keep that faith. You got to trust that what you're doing is the right thing. Okay? Like, you really have to. It's like that person who believes in themselves in their dream and nobody else does. And then when they get it, everybody else suddenly like, I always knew you could do it. And you're like, yeah, you, man. Where were you when I needed you? Right? So I feel like you're in that. Yeah. So I feel like you're in that just phase. So don't put so much weight on the expectations. You know, sometimes when we ask for things because you're not used to it, it's heavy for you to ask for that. It's not like anybody else, like me going to somebody's like, hey, can you help me with that? That could be like a massive deal for you. Okay. So take the pressure off. I've lost a couple of friends because of this, and that's okay. You know, it's okay, but you can't put the pressure on yourself to expect anything. The fact that you're asking is the key. What happens after that, I promise you, it will come. But the fact that you're asking, you've broken the cycle. And you're doing it again and again and again. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, I used to do door to door. I used to sell door to door when I broke out of my waitressing job. And you know how many no's I got? A lot. I got doors slammed in my face all the time. But it's that one yes that makes it worth it. And that's the kind of situation about that. So I recently got a coach. He's a little pricey, but for me, what I like about coaches is that they just keep you. They're less therapy and more about motivation and moving forward and planning. So I don't know. I feel like you already have a therapist. So again, you got that part, but maybe looking for somebody who can help you set goals or keep you motivated. It sometimes that's also a very good thing. The guy that I saw me, Tommy Sobel, I think his name is, but he's not cheap. So I don't know what your budget is, but he's like $1,000 for like I think a week or a month. I can't remember. Yeah, he's not cheap. But for me, it was worth it. Yeah. Again, but you know, he was asking way more than that. By the way, I had to back him down. So, but you know, again, I had the budget. I didn't really actually have the budget at the time for it. It's a whole story. It doesn't matter. This is my financial stuff. But it unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. So it was great. But yeah, the point is you can find somebody more within your budget, or even just doing an online course, Kelly. Like, you don't maybe have to invest that much money, but like an online course or something essentially that can help you. But the point is keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving towards where you want to go, keep moving towards the change you know in your gut you're doing the right thing. Okay. I miss what kind of help you recommended. I thought about working with someone who works around burnout. I mean, you got to trust yourself at this point. I'd say, you know, when I was looking for a coach, I put it out there and then he showed up. So it was one of those things where I was thinking about getting a financial coach, and then literally a video came up where Sky Life, I don't know if anybody follows her, she was interviewing him, and then they were doing like a special offer. So I was like, duh. My instincts would just like go and follow him. So, but look it up, you know, see what's out there. I think the point is, Kelly, is that you're doing things to help yourself. You're doing things to create a better life for yourself. And that's the most important thing. You know, there's a couple of people here on Insight Time I've thought of. So, and trust your instincts. You know, for me, it was very like, I didn't really have the money that month, but I was just like, I actually probably had like because my money comes and goes depending on how much I sell and how much I'm doing. So that month I didn't have a lot of money. 444. I think I had like 1,200 in my bank, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But I'm at a point now where I can do these things because then I can manifest money again later on. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But yeah, so just trust yourself, trust your instincts. You're doing the right thing and you're changing your life, and that comes with change. That comes with uncomfortable. I even say sometimes the more uncomfortable it is, the more likely you are on the right path. Okay? So just celebrate yourself and look into them. If just trust your instincts and just obviously have a budget in mind and send them a message and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a burnout coach. This is my budget. Is that within your means?" So if they say yes, great. If they say no, then move on until you find somebody who is. There's always going to be somebody within your budget. Okay, Alicia. I'm just going to try and move through, guys. But you got this, Kelly. You're doing good. I would even say great. Fantastic. General, please. Did you get it? So, see, now you guys know why I can spend too much time by myself. You think I need an audience for this? No. Whee! That flew out. Okay. Ooh, interesting. All right. So there's something here that okay, this is interesting. So it's a little bit darker than I like. Not scary dark, ooh, okay, whatever. But in the sense of like there's shadow work here that's coming up for you. So there's essentially a situation. I'm just going to read the card. I think it's going to help out. The warlocks invite you to see the truth, even if it's painful, dark, or mysterious. Do not be afraid, for fear will only cloud you. Instead, acknowledge the shadows within you, and from there, choose who you want to become. Avoiding the truth will only cast more shadows. So I feel like there's a situation here, and actually more like a cycle that's happening in your life that isn't great, isn't exactly what you want, or isn't exactly in alignment with where you want to go. So this is basically just asking you to be honest with yourself. I feel like I don't know why I'm doing that. But it's really asking you to just be honest and blunt about it. I feel like sometimes we try to justify things or make excuses, or we're like, yeah, but it's gonna I don't know. And it could be something, a habit that you're doing, or it could be a circumstance. I'm not very clear about it. However, you did get the elemental warrior. So this is kind of like the solution. The elemental warriors are calling you to stand strong in your beliefs and fight for what is right. This is a time to be courageous, to defend those who cannot defend themselves, and to honor your connection with Mother Nature, and the animals. The inner animal, or an actual animal, or inner child, by the way. Opening your eyes to the truth. Open your eyes to the truth, even if it's difficult to see. Let compassion and justice guide your action, and use your voice to bring positive change to the world. So it's almost like there's a part of you that's got to stand up to the situation, put your foot down about it, and actually say, this is not right, this is not okay, this is not going to fly anymore. Not sure what that is. Hopefully this is making sense. But what I'm hearing here is that almost like there's something that you need to speak up for or fight for. And it's just telling you, if you can do that, it's going to move things forward for you. So hopefully that makes sense. It's very clear to me, but I don't know. And Carly. Okay, fear of putting myself out there, being seen personally and professionally. I'm in a comfortable place, but it may be too comfortable. Yeah, comfort. We love comfort. By the way, Alicia, let me know if that resonated. Hopefully. If not, that's okay. Sometimes it's too close to home. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Oh my god, I love this. You're gonna see in a second. The Hermit. You are too comfortable. And change. Oh, you're not sure what it is? Okay. Well, maybe it's something that you need to be aware of then, or maybe it's just something that is a cycle or something. Again, it could be also something that you're saying to yourself, and if you're not aware of it just yet, it could come up, and maybe that's why the cards came up. So sometimes it's like something that it's preparing you to be aware of. It's not always maybe something that you currently, I mean, you are going through, but you're not aware of, if that makes any sense. Um, and sometimes these are one of the things, by the way, Alicia, that you might go home or you might turn off the light and live, and then you're like, oh, that's what it is. I hope. So, um, okay. So, yeah, yeah, you do, Carly, need to change, and because your own power. Okay, so it's all about um, it's self-empowerment, really. I think the comfort also, we have to remember, like, look at the difference also between the two energies. This is the hermit, which is where you're at, and this is the change. You fly, you soar into the sky. So you never read ever done this, by the way. Just entertaining myself. So it's all about taking your power back, Carly. I think you are aware of it, and the reason why you're asking is because you know deep down there is something here that, you know, here's the thing. What is the point of us being here on planet Earth? We have to think of it kind of this way. Now, we're here to evolve, we're here to learn. This is a school. Now, if we get comfortable, what ends up happening a lot of the time is that comfort isn't always great. It feels good to us because we like it, but change is inevitable. Okay? What ends up happening in this world is that if you don't put yourself into the change, change will come to you. And then you'll get really uncomfortable. Or you get too comfortable that change becomes so uncomfortable that it's extremely difficult. So you can do it that way, but change is inevitable on this planet. So if we can become comfortable with change, what ends up happening is that you discover your power, which means nothing can stop you from moving forward. Nothing can get in the way. Um, so whenever something changes or whenever you're put in a situation where it's challenging, you've got the tools at that point to overcome it. But when you stay in your comfort too much, it becomes incredibly difficult to do anything. I know this because, I mean, you know, I looked at people like my grandmother, for example. She was a creature of habit. She had really bad OCD. So she would do the same exact routine every single day. And it got to the point where she was not able anymore, obviously because she was older and whatever, but she was also like, it gave her dementia because she was stuck in a routine, so she's not challenging herself. But on top of that, when anything changed, she would flip out because she didn't know how to manage it. And extreme flip out, like her printer wouldn't print, you know, like silly things like that. That's an example of somebody who's gone too far in their comfort and haven't adapted. Oh, my mom's the same. You know, she's very much a creature of habit. She lost her job, and then of course she's freaking out. You know, so things will happen, and if you are adaptable, if you start challenging yourself and putting yourself in situations where you actually start proving to yourself that you are very capable, but I actually can do this, and no matter how difficult things are, I'm going to be okay. And the more you train that muscle, the easier it's going to be for you. Not to say that things can't be difficult, but you're going to handle it a lot better than somebody who doesn't challenge themselves. And there's a reason why you're asking this question, because you know deep down it's time for you to do that, and you probably just needed me to give you confirmation, but there's something much deeper about this that you're going to discover about yourself, Carly, when you step into it. And I think it's going to be one of those things that you're going to look back and you're going to be like, I'm so proud of myself for doing it. I feel like I'm very late, but always hi. Hey, Max. I was so much in hypervigilance mode during divorce. I felt the need to hibernate, to regulate. I'm a lifelong learner. Have been feeling a pull to expand and stretch. Just haven't done for a year or so. This resonates. The hermit card made me laugh. Thank you so much. They were pretty straightforward with you. With this like hermit change. It was like you couldn't get it any more straighter than that. Okay, Flora, what's your question? That was very direct. Sometimes they're just like, bam, you know. I love it when they do that because then it makes it so easy. Okay, general. Husband. Carl, what are you doing? Okay. I didn't know my husband was still here. I call him husband. Not even his name. I feel like I'm back in like the 17th centuries or something. Okay, an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self confidence, afraid to take action. Mm-hmm. Defend your beliefs and decisions, stand your ground, choose your battles wisely. Sure, Max, you can be off the floor. Happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success. Have confidence in yourself, Floor. Okay, by the end of these readings, so I've been here for like 2 hours, attitude starts coming out. So I hope you guys don't take offense to it. I hope you guys know I'm having fun here. Okay, an illusion of being trapped. So obviously there's something, Floor, that makes you feel like you are trapped. And the truth of the matter is you always have a choice. You just have to pick a fight, not an actual fight. But the fight means, you know, I can either go left or go right, or I can stay in the middle. Which one do I want? And the truth of the matter is that there are choices, so we have to start like looking at those choices and asking yourself, what are my choices? Because oftentimes we don't realize that we have choices because we're repeating the broken record, where we're saying the same thing over and over to ourselves and not realizing that, you know, we're looking at the world like this when we just need to do this. So then we're like, oh, I could go that way and I can go that way. So um I hope this is making sense, by the way. So the point that I'm hearing here is that you can't mess it up. You just have to be confident in yourself, Laura. There's just like a part of you that you just got to trust yourself, that you're going to make the right choice, that you're going to be okay, that you just need to take that step. Um, so get out of the cycle, stop repeating the same questions over and over again, and start asking different questions, because then you can have a different perspective. And then from there, trust yourself, because they're saying the decision that you're going to make is going to be the right one for you. But yeah, everything requires a level of like, I got to do this, or I got to do that, or I got to step up, or I got to just say no or yes, whatever it is. So it's almost like claiming your power, because whenever we get this kind of card, it means like power struggle, some kind of power struggle. Um, yeah, pretty straightforward. Not sure if that makes sense or if it's resonating with you, but let me know. And then Max, what's your question? And again, sometimes these readings, guys, because usually when you guys ask me a specific question, we can go straight into it. When you ask general, nothing wrong with that. Sometimes they're very clear, but sometimes they are a little bit more general because it's something that we might not see or that we might not understand. And I've had readings like that where I'm just like, this person's not even on. Not saying that I could be off. But then later on, I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's what they meant. Okay, Max, what's your question? Max. I have a hamster named Max. He's my favorite one. He's actually also, poor thing, he's got a tumor, but he's adorable. I put my hand and he just goes on my hand. He's the sweetest one. He's my little baby. La la la. Okay, Floor, let me know if it resonated. And oh, there we go. Taking time. That resonated and was much needed. Awesome. How can I pray more? Well, you get down on your knees and you pray. No, not sure what you're asking here, Max. Are you saying, do you want to feel more? Do you want the discipline of prayer? Do you want more connection to God or whatever you believe in? What is it that you really are looking within the prayer or the practice of prayer? Because I think you're asking the question. I think I know what you mean, but be a little bit more specific in that. Yeah, Kelly, also the hibernation thing. Um, Hibernation, it's just a self protection mechanism, which is nothing wrong with that. but we got to be careful not to take it too far sometimes. So I'm just waiting for Max to be more specific on the question. Maybe I'll just see what comes up as well. I want to tune into your energy. Okay, so I would like more of a connection to the universe. I do listen to worship music. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Okay. So prayer is really a self-loving practice. In fact, this is the message that you got. You got the silkies. And I want you to think of it kind of like creating a relationship with a person, and the universe is like a person. So when we neglect that connection, we neglect that relationship. And the universe is kind of us, right? The kingdom within. And when we create that relationship, in fact, I tell people spirituality or religion or whatever, it's an incredibly intimate experience with yourself. It's you discovering more about yourself and who you are. And when you prayer, it's an activation of your divine self or connecting to the divine energy that's also within yourself. And therefore, you're building a relationship beyond the physical. You're tuning into something that is who you really are, essentially, because this is flesh and we are going to die. It's a fact. This is going to go. What's going to live forever is our spirit. So we reconnect to that spirit, to that infinite energy, to who we really are, to that something bigger than ourselves. And it's a self-loving practice. It's a sacred practice. So in a sense, Max, again, when I do my affirmations, when I do my meditations, when I do my stuff, that's a sacred practice that I have with myself. I'm connecting to that greater power that's within me and outside of me to remind me constantly of who I am and what I'm capable of, and to be able to be of service as well. And it's a very powerful self-loving practice, and it builds respect. It builds a connection deeper than anything I possibly experienced probably in a physical world. And it's something that's a character building. So I think of it kind of like brushing my teeth. If you don't, if you love prayer, um, yeah, but you got to think of it kind of like, if it's hard to sit with your thoughts, then the prayer that you are doing isn't empowering. You just need to change the practice. You need to find a practice that works for you. I think you're following the crowd. I think you're following what you've been told to do. And again, spirituality is an intimate experience. You may pray different to how I pray to how Joe prayers. So, what works for you? What do you like doing? I like to sit in my literally in my wardrobe and meditate and channel the information, and I speak through it. That's a practice. I did it this morning as I woke up. I meditated twice already this morning, but I did it because it feels good, because I like it, because I know what it means and I know what it does for me. So I feel like partly it's because you're not feeling the benefits from it, because if you were, it's kind of like when you have a shower or when you brush your teeth or when you exercise. If you're committed to exercise, you know it, the benefits of it. It takes a little bit of work, but it's worth it. So I feel like you've got to figure out what your practice is, what something resonates with you. And it might not look like sitting down and saying that out loud. It might look like saying one word, or it might look like closing your eyes before bed and visualizing something. It might look like singing. It might look like listening to worship music. That's still prayer, because you're feeling that energy, you're connecting to whatever it is. So I think partly is just not to judge yourself on what is the right way to prayer. The point is, are you connecting to that greater power, and are you receiving that? And also maybe not making it so epic and complicated, because a lot of the times, even with meditation, a lot of people, um they were like, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna sit there for 6 hours, and I'm like, well, good luck with that. I'm like, nothing wrong with that. If you have the time and, if you want to be a monk, go for it. But like, generally, people have things to do and we got to get to work and we're very busy, right? So 20 minutes, man, 15 minutes, if you can. That's great. That's what I love. 5 minutes. So sometimes it doesn't have to be this like epic, massive thing. It's just that quiet moment to connect and speak truthful words, feel that energy. And on the days where you feel like it, make it epic. But as long as there's the consistency with that practice, even just in the morning, just to wake up and say, thank you. That's it. So it's what you want to make it. Okay. Jacqueline has morning habits and night habits course that could help make space for prayer. Hi, my husband's here. Do you want to come and say hi? He's shy. Why'd you look then? He wants me to be done. Yeah, Tim says hi, Carl. He's telling me to hurry up. Oh, rude. Okay, so let's finish up, guys, with a letter. He wants my energy. I mean, who can blame him? So let's take a moment just to do a closing meditation. Just a quick meditation, Max, while you're there. Hopefully, if you are okay with meditating, and let's do it. So, very quick, but just a final reset, final activation, and just to connect to that divine energy. So, if you haven't already, um, I use the meditation app a lot when things calm down in my life. I'll become a member of the app. My mother is dying. Oh, I'm so sorry, Anessa. That's terrible. I hope you're okay. It's okay. Carl deserves the attention too. He gets plenty of attention. Don't worry. Spend way too much time with that man. No jokes. So, well, sending you so much love and light, Yanessa. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Yes, so guys, a couple of things, just a quick promo before we go into the meditation. So I do have two courses on Insight Timer that I just created, morning routine and night routine. They're designed to basically help you create an empowering routine. It's really a manifestation technique, but I would highly recommend to do them. They're 7 days each. You can do both at the same time, or you can do one. I recommend doing one and then the other. Just focus on one and then move to the other. Essentially, it's just how to set an energy for the night and set an energy for, the morning. And what was the other thing I had to say? Nothing important. Okay, so let's get into the meditation. So whenever you guys are ready, close your eyes. Maybe take a deep breath, shake it out, be silly. Don't worry about anyone because you're probably by yourself and no one's around you. And somehow we feel silly even just doing something like shaking our body and making weird sounds. So give yourself permission to feel awkward and silly right now and just to shake your shoulders, maybe some weird sound. Just get awkward, get weird. I know it'll make sense in a second. And then just settle in. And then slowly, slowly diving deep into yourself, beginning to feel, listen, and not with your ears, but I want you to begin to listen with your energy and your heart. And what do you feel? If your thoughts begin to drift, that's okay. Just notice what the thoughts are. And then just bring yourself back to your breath, back to your present moment, back to the stillness. And slow down the breath. Release anything that you're ready to release with the out breath. And with the in breath now, I want you to call in an intention, something that your heart desires. And if you're not sure, just place your hand on your heart and ask, what am I ready? What am I ready for? What do I desire? When you breathe in now, you're going to breathe into your heart, awakening this intention, awakening this energy. And I want you to begin to see it as a diamond or a ball of light beginning to activate. And with each breath, it's going to get brighter and brighter. And with every out breath, you're going to surrender any resistance, any opposition, any limitation from the 3D world, from the earthly world. And the more you breathe in, you're going to connect even more to that divine self, to that God frequency, universe energy, whatever it is for you. And allow this light to get brighter and brighter, beginning to feed this energy, empowering yourself, giving yourself the gift of love, of light, of peace, of abundance. And the more you give this to yourself, the more connected to the divine you become. The less you are connected to this physical realm, the more you activate your sacred energies, the more you awaken the sacred information within your DNA. And allow it to expand even more now, beginning to expand even outside of your chest. And this energy is so powerful, so beautiful, so pure, that it's shifting the molecules and the frequencies around you, the space around you, in the air, people, places, and things that are around you. This light, this power, this gift is shifting them as well and awakening their DNA, their light, their divine selves. And this is the power of giving to yourself, of respecting yourself, of being in your truest, authentic energy, of connecting to the divine and giving yourself the love and the light that you deserve. Because when you give it to yourself, everyone else receives it and benefits from it. I receive, thank you. And just hold this energy for as long as you wish throughout the day, anchoring in whenever you need. As we slowly now begin to come back into the physical realm, still active, still with this beautiful light in our hearts. As we slowly begin to open the eyes, and come back into the space whenever you're ready. Yay! He hung around. How was it, Max? Hopefully you enjoyed it. Okay, good. So you see, I practice this simple, and you can call in the God energy if you believe in God, whatever works for you. This is a simple practice, just allowing that light of God into your heart. In fact, that's something that I actually do. I used to do. I haven't done it recently, but I used to do that every morning. So sometimes prayer is just that. It's just the connection, the feeling, remembering. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for being here, for hanging out with me, for showing up. I'm so grateful for all of your energy, your time, your trust. I'm sending you, Yanessa, sending you so much love. She's such a supporter, Yanessa. She's on all my platforms. I always, anytime I do a live, she's there, and I so appreciate it. It's just like, it's just the nicest thing. You're the best. So I am really excited, guys. Make sure to go onto my profile, check out my meditations. There's a ton of meditations there. I have a ton of courses. So definitely go and check them out. And there's a bit of everything, honestly. I create new stuff all the time. So take advantage since you are on Insight Timer. And you can find me, of course, on all my socials, on my profile. You can find my website there and stalk me there. Please do. All right. So I am so grateful for your time and energy, guys. And I'm sending you so much love. And I will see you hopefully on the next live. Have a magical day. Bye bye.